Exploring ideas is my passion and executing is my dream. Aren't these amazingly beautiful words? And now try and imagine these words are from a tech enthusiastic and a co founder of Little Genius. Now, the question is, what is so amazing about it? The amazing part is that this is co-founder who is with us today is not a 50 plus year or 30 years founder, but just 12 years young boy. I'm not sure if it is offensive to call this kid a kid, but he is a brilliant eighth grade kid who is studying and simultaneously has founded a venture, Little Genius. Little Genius is a platform where students can learn through high quality resources without accessing internet, which increases the accessibility of education, primarily for less privileged kids with a very low cost. This is going to be a fascinating interview, and I'm sure there'll be lots of inspiration and inspiring messages we will be summing up in this interview, especially beneficial for school kids who must now look to identify their goals, their dreams, and also for the youth. Imagine we had just been busy in our exams and playing in this age, but this little boy is a founder and has got big goals. He talks about executing his dreams, a key element of taking actions which successful people understand only in their 30s, even later, or at times never. The brilliant part is he talks about transforming the lives of people using technology. He also mentored his 12th grade cousin. Help me in welcoming Antariksha Verma. Thank you, Antariksha, and welcome to LivesBerg Enterprise interview platform. And it's a great privilege to have you here on this platform. Hi, Antariksha.
Hello, ma'am.
All right, Antariksha. So, this interview is primarily to inspire the school kids and youth. We want to know about what different food you have been giving to yourself, or what is it that's so much different in you, which is not there, which was not there in me or many other people.
Ma'am, I think that different skills and the ability to think and various other things, but the main element is visionary
Mm-hmm.
vision. Being able to capture having a vision, and I think many people lack this vision, but it's like a skill. You can learn it, you can understand it, and you can develop it over time. But then of course, if you're coming from, it depends on your background. Like from the background where I come, my father was a visionary. He helped me be a visionary. He told me that I should take ownership of my things. So I think these small things, taking ownership and then creating goals, organizing myself, have led me to be a visionary, to have big dreams and big goals, which of course is not easy to execute. But when you have support from your mentors like my father and a few other people, so I think this support also helps you do that. And of course you have Google, so it would help you anyway. So I think
That's wonderful.
that is.
All right, that's wonderful. So, Antariksha, when you say visionary, this is such a huge thing, which even I also identified too much late in my life. So, when you say visionary, what helped you or what steps you can share with school kids or youth so that they can identify vision or they can be visionary as you are?
So the first thing should be that should start from home. You should take ownership of your own work, and then you should do your own work. You should do your school work. You should do everything that that's your work. Then you should also try to do some home chores, which can just help you work. And then after you've started to work, you should read about some of the big minds in the world like Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or even Sundar Pichai, and then you should learn from them. what have they got in their lives, what have they done. Like, I'm not telling you to just un- know all their bio data and history, but you should know what have they done in their lives and what steps they have taken. Then you should also analyze them, what have they done in their lives, and then after what they have done, how can you do things. Then you should also identify problems in your society, because I think a business is not a business until it is helping someone. Because see, Google helped us, it did help us, but um if they were identifying a different problem. And now if you look at my company, my startup, we are identifying a different problem. So there's this difference. So you need to identify a problem and then you should go and solve it.
Right. Wonderful. Wonderfully said. So, do you mean that first we kids or we adults must learn to give to the society and then expect anything in return?
I think expecting something in return, I think, why should we expect something in return? We have given something, and when I give something, I don't expect anything in return, because I have got something in return, and that's joy, the joy of life, that you've done something good for the other person. So you're like getting happiness. What more do you want in life?
That is just wonderful. So, when you talk about you talked about life skills. So, what kind of life skills do you feel are important, which kids can either study from schools or can inculcate in themselves at home?
So the life skills can be like organizing yourself, because
Mm-hmm.
when you're heading a big business, just think about it, you would need to organize yourself, create departments, you would need to understand things, and you would need to identify problems, and then you need to categorize that problem in one of the category, that what kind of a problem is it, for who am I solving for. So you need to answer such questions. Then um, life skills can also be that you need to inculcate reflective, you need to be reflective, right? You need to reflect on what you've done, analyze what you've done, and then execute it once again.
So, when you say organizing kids, what they can do, what three steps they can follow to organize themselves, and if those steps could be easy as first grade kid can also follow, that would be wonderful.
No, actually they are easier than what a first grade kid can do. The
Hmm.
first is, of course, to like set things in your wardrobe. You should know where your clothes are, you should set things in your wardrobe, and then you should, when you're like going to bathe, then you should take your own clothes out and keep them, so that after you come out, you can wear them. So I think this should be the first step, right? Then the second step should be doing your schoolwork and then keeping it nicely, in a pile, kind of like in a pile, and like that. Then the third step should be that you should categorize your books. You should know where your books are, right? So that when you want to take a book, you can take a book, you can read it, and then keep it back where it was. And one of the example I can relate it with is the library. For example, my school library, they organize things, they categorize things in a order. So I think that kids should also do this, because it will teach them how do you organize them, and these small things are quite useful in the real world.
That is just wonderful. All right. So, when you say, how do you think that you can motivate kids to study? So, study is something which they feel is boring. How can they motivate themselves to take out time for themselves to study?
Studying, what's studying is just you're learning something. So I think they should firstly revise their definition of studying,
Mhm.
because I don't think so children are really scared of studying. I mean, I'm like excited for science, right? But when it comes to mathematics, I'm also a little, oh my god, boring. But still, the thing is that Studying is not that tough. You just need to open a book in front of yourself, do some questions, and you're done. See, life is about practice. Maths is about practice. Science is about practice. Even if you're coding, learning to code, that's also about practice. You need to practice your code. You need to practice. If you're playing a sport, you need to practice. So, in life, there you always need to practice. And one of the best example is to study maths, because you need to continuously practice in maths. Then only you can master a skill in maths.
Hmm. So when you say practice, what are the steps to practice?
um I don't think there are steps to practice, but I do think that um, that you should try to practice. You should take something. You should take on a skill, like kind of like you should go on and take up an instrument, or take like something else, like study maths, or just learn to code. And you should practice that thing, because doing something again and again, I don't feel that's practice. But doing something again, reflecting on it, right, knowing where you went wrong and then doing it again, that's practice.
Hmm. What kind of thought process or what actually helped you to have such a different mindset from other normal kids? I mean, I had also been a very normal kid. What mindset, what books, what had you been practicing or feeding your mind, which can help other kids also?
I think my society, they helped me, because my friends, they were like they had a political mind, my friends. So they were, always arguing about these political things. And I don't know why, but from birth, I was always interested in things. When they used to argue about it, and I used to know nothing about it, I still used to participate. And I
Mhm.
used to participate because um, I used to use my brain. I used to say, okay, they've said that. Now I should counter argue them, or I should just support them. What can I do? So I used to think logically in that situation, right? Because I didn't used to know anything. I didn't know anything right at that time. So then I used to study about these things. I used to go on Google, read book, and then I understood about the things they were arguing. And then when I got back with my points, they were so strong. And learning about, not about politics, but learning about the society, and participating in things, that helped me in identifying a problem in our society. And
Wonderful.
I think the mindset should not be any entrepreneurial mindset or an author's mindset. It should be a participating mindset, a mindset which allows you to participate in things. And when I look at people in my school or in my class, they're like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. But in peer pressure also, I believe that I think that I should also say that I don't want to do this, but I don't do that. I want to participate, because that's how my mind works, and that's how it has helped me grow.
Hmm. Wonderful. So if I pick up couple of points from this reply, so the first point is that you were always eager to participate. Despite you were unaware of the topic, you would go back, learn, and then again come back with strong points and then again participate. And even if you're lacking somewhere, you would again go back, learn, and then participate again. So what you're trying to say is that instead of having an entrepreneurial or becoming an author or becoming something, primarily for kids or for anyone, important is to keep learning, one, keep participating, and just believe in yourself. Is that right?
Yes.
Very beautifully said. Very beautifully said. How do you look at other kids when you talk about peer pressure? Of course, there's a lot of peer pressure. Had there been instances in your life where other kids pulled you down, or they said that, this is not going to work, you are such a little kid, just think about it later on? Did Had there been pushbacks in your lives and how you handled them?
There isn't any setback or pushback in my life till now. But whenever I used to, tell my friends or tell my classmates that I'm doing this, and whenever I used to open LinkedIn on my laptop, and they used to say, Why are you opening LinkedIn? It's social media. And I used to say, just stop it, don't say anything. Because the teacher used to then take my laptop, shut the LinkedIn down. And few of my friends were also like, send this connection request to my father, to this, to that. And I was like, okay, okay, okay. But I didn't used to pay any attention. Then when I told when then sometimes they even used to see my profile, and then they used to see what I wrote in my profile, the things which I wrote, the big things according to them which I wrote in my profile. So I think they used to say, yeah, yeah, sure, it won't work, and these things were there, but I didn't pay much attention to them and I ignored them. Like people say, like, take it in from one ear and take it out from the other ear. So I used to do the same thing in that case.
All right. So, what is the takeaway for us is that yes, whatever age you are in, whenever you want to do or start something good, there'll be distractions, there'll be pushbacks, but the message from you is do not bother, just ignore them and keep doing your work. Where did you get this self belief, this inner belief? Who do you want to give credit to? Or primarily, what steps would you want to give credit to? So, here, instead of knowing that someone else believed in you, we are more interested to know what you had been saying to yourself in your self talk, which helped you to be here.
Don't give up.
Mhm.
I think see, because there are a few things in which you will give up, in which you don't want to do it, right? There are different fields, and in one of the field you'll be like, I don't want to do this, I don't. And 99.9% of the fields would be that those fields in which you'll say, I don't want to do this. But that 0.1% of the fields, you'll be like, I want to do this, no, I'll do it again, I'll stand up, I won't give up. So that will be a thing, right? So I won't say a step here, I won't tell you that I have done a step or there was a step in my life, but what I'll do say is that don't give up, and just stay there, stay where you are. And as Muhammad Ali said, that he used to hate every minute of practice, but the only thing that kept him going was what was after practice. That after practice he would be a great, and he wouldn't need to like practice anymore, and he would be a great. He would enjoy the rest of his life. And I think all these things are not. I think my father and my mother always motivated me to do all these things, to you know continue doing things, and like studying for my life, studying in my school years, in my college years, and then enjoying the rest of my life. So they should have this kind of a mindset.
All right. So, what they had been saying to you primarily, have you ever been through the self doubt where you thought that, oh my God, this is not going to work or it is too hard? Did you have these kind of doubts that maybe I'm too early getting into this, maybe I should wait for some time, in those times when you don't see things going the way it should go?
I never saw that actually, because currently our system is working fantastically well in a school, in an NGO run school. So whenever things were about to go down, a few things always got me going up, right? Like our system is fantastically working in this NGO run school. So when that happened, it happened only a few months ago. So I was very, very, very happy and very excited, and that kept me going also. And then last month ago, I gave this talk in this uh, in India International Center, and a month before that also I gave a talk in India International Center again. So I think, when I was sharing my thoughts and my ideas, I think that also kept me motivated. Yeah. And after your interview, this is also keeping me going, and I think this is a symbol of a really good new year for me.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's very nice. I would say that it's our pleasure to have you here and talking to kids. What message would you want to give to kids, those who feel depressed? See, I would say not everybody is so privileged to have supportive parents, supportive society, and not everybody has got this kind of mindset to shun off the distractions. So, when we are talking about kids, those who are going through a lot, this generation is actually going through a lot. What words or what steps they can do to keep themselves motivated?
So the steps can be that if you're distracted, yeah, you should be distracted in a good thing, like learning about the world. Like if you're not studying and you're distracted, so you shouldn't be distracted by Instagram or Snapchat, right? You should just close your account. You should be distracted about, I'm not saying politics you should be, but yes, you should know about the affairs, the current affairs. Then you should be updated about the world, what's happening in the world, right? You should also know the world news. Then if you're really interested in politics, learning about politics, then you should know both sides, you know like if you were only learning if you're only understanding politics from one end, then that would be harmful to you later on. So you should know politics from both the ends, both the perspectives. So you should be distracted, but only in good things, in things that can help you in life. So you should know that what is happening in the world, and like AI and ML and such things, the future. So you should know that. Then I think one of the distraction also led me to this little genius only. And I've always been distracted in my life, but in good things like this. I used to go on Google and I just used to type on Google random things, how to do this, how to do this, how to do that, right? So I think I have got this has interested me, learning about things. So yeah, you can have a distraction, but it should be something good, something that is distracting you, but something that will help you in life. Right, so we wouldn't call that distraction, of course.
All right. So you just discussed about that some distraction led you to Little Genius. We are interested to know about that. What was that distraction?
So, like first distraction and the most important distraction, which I feel was my own family. So what happened was that my sister was in 12th grade last summer. So when she was in 12th grade, she was having her exams, right? So she was going to have her exams, and she was studying with the resource she could find, right? And my school was like giving everything on internet. They were giving us homeworks on internet, links and all. So the resources my sister got, she got it from the internet, and my father had restricted us to use internet. So when I saw my sister and she was struggling to find resources, and she was always bright in studies also, she was very good in studies and all. So um I thought that, come on, I should do something for her. And I thought that there should be kind of like a software that allows you to do uh, to research, and that allows you to learn without going on internet. So I thought there should be that. Then I think after a few weeks, I met my cousin, who was a software developer who had just passed out from college. So he told me, like, we can code it, I can code it into a product if you want. So I told, yeah, sure. So it took him time because he had a job to do, right? He was also doing his own job, so it took him a lot of time. So what did I do? I went on Google and I typed things that would help me do this, what I was saying, right? Things that would help me put in videos and content that my sister can see without actually going on internet. So what I did, I couldn't find any such software. So I just downloaded the videos, stored them in a folder, and showed my sister. So yeah, she did watch some of the content and it was fine. Then a few weeks later, my father showed me the software called UMS, Universal Media Server, and then I used it, and to show, and then I streamed the content, right? And I showed my sister all the videos, and it was fantastic. It worked so good. And yeah, after 1 to 2 months, my cousin brother coded it, and we had a software.
All right, that's
And,
wonderful. So, talk about Little Genius. What kind of software is that? How can kids use it? So, talk about
so
Little Genius.
Little Genius is an offline. I would like to stress on offline software that will help them, study not only just math, science, and these things, but that would help them study from any resource that can help them, gain organization, that can help them gain different life skills like being reflective, that can help them in anything. And we are also right now going to create another software which won't be for studying, which will be just like Little Genius, but it won't be for studying. It will be called Funtainment. It is for entertainment. So Little Genius can be used for anything you want, anything you want, right? Till the time you have the content. And we are also trying our hands at content creation by creating content. And we are also working on an interactive smartboard where teachers can teach. So, Little Genius has two main things. One is Little Genius acts like a teacher where it teaches you, and the other is Little Genius is like a helper for teachers because teachers can teach with it, right? Using our interactive smartboard. Then Little Genius also has this parent teacher collaboration system where the teacher can collaborate with the parent. And then Little Genius also, we're also working on e-assessments platform where there will be assessments, electronic assessments in the software. So it will be playing the role of a teacher. So
That's wonderful. All right, Antariksha, how much do you see? Okay, so there is some survey which I want to share with you. We surveyed 500 people and we asked them this question. So this set of group included employers, employees, CEOs from primarily from MNCs, teachers, professionals, doctors, and we asked them this question that what percentage of what you studied in your school you are using in your current job or in past job? Would you like to know the results?
yes,
The result was 1% to 0%. And only doctors said that on an average of 8% of what they studied in schools, they are using in their current job. So, what do you have to talk about studies when we talk about trigonometry, which is going to come in near years for you? What do you think that we talk about Pythagoras triplet, trigonometry, or other studies which later on we are unable to use in our jobs because of the pattern of profession, which is different from what we have been studied in schools? What do you have to say about these subjects?
I'll answer this question right now. But first, I would like to tell you one thing. I saw this TED ad video which the person was explaining three myths of the education system, Indian education system. And then he said that what he did, that he in his life on Google searched that how would inter derivative, how would calculus help in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the result that he shared, that 58% of the 12th and 11th graders search the same question.
Mm-hmm.
So what I have to say for you for this result is that the Indian education system, I think that the Indian education system lacks in conceptual learning and in life skills. And I think
Mm-hmm.
um, schools, of course, schools follow CBSE. Schools follow CBSE, but I have not, been there in CBSE for a lot of time. I was there in uh, uh, IB. So IB follows a very good, conceptual learning and life skills and all that. So I think the Indian education system needs to take credit for that. They need to um, change a few things in their system, right? Instead of working on these, doing this using this rote learning formula, which I think most of these CBSE schools are now countering back. They're not doing rote learning. They're actually doing something called experiential learning, which I think is fabulous. So I think this is very helpful for kids, experiential learning. And I think that what Little Genius is doing, if Little Genius is implemented on CBSE schools, currently Little Genius is not following any particular board. It's just working on um, process oriented learning, right? Because like there are formatives in Little Genius, then and there are summatives, right? So there is process oriented learning. So the learning is judged from the whole process, right? The learning is not judged from just the exam or just the summative assessment, but it's judged from the whole process. So I think that is something that CBSE schools should adopt, process oriented learning. And yeah, and conceptual learning.
All right. Antariksha, what do you have to say about schools so schools are teaching English, Hindi, maths, chemistry, and other subjects, and they are taking exams, they are doing the assessments. However, do you feel that how to live life, the things which we need to use on our daily basis, are also required to be taught in school because those are called the formative years? So, when I say how to live life, how should I handle the failures? How should I handle my emotions? How should I rechannelize my thoughts when they're not going in the right direction? Or how to motivate myself to take a step? Or maybe how to be a growth mindset kid? Do you see that it is required to work on the growth mindset of kids, considering a lot of crime rates and the other destructive things increasing among school kids and college kids, increasing suicide? Do you see that working on mindset is something which is really required and need of the hour?
Yes. I have been seeing that many JNU kids are going in these um protests, and I think I'm not anyone to stop them. They can, of course. And JNU is a school which focuses on political science, and there's a lot of politics going on in JNU. So I think that what they should do is, while they're being distracted, they should focus on something constructive as well. There's no one um, to stop them from being distracted. They should be, of course. Everyone is at some point in their life distracted by different things, right? So but it depends on them, and at what thing are they being distractive, being distracting, right? Now um if they can turn their distraction into something that is constructive, then that's just a skill. That's marvelous if they can do such a thing, right? I did that. I tried to do that, and I always try to do that, right? I've started learning Python. How? I just went to the YouTube, I typed learn Python, and I started to learn Python. So that was at first my distraction, but now I've started to learn it. And I'm thinking of implementing what I'm learning, my own coding skills, into my software. So I'm turning my distraction into something constructive, right? So increasing crime rate, if they can just, if that's their distraction, how can that they turn it into something constructive? Well, that's on to them. If someone is distracted by Instagram or say TikToks, then how can they turn that into something constructive? Is something that's marvelous, and that's a skill. That's that no one can teach them. That it just comes from within. And the first thing which you said, that children should work on growth mindset, then the failures. I think there are counselors there to help them grow from those failures, right? And I think that's why counselors are so useful. They help them understand and analyze and reflect on where they are going wrong.
So, how counselors work in the schools? How do they work?
So, like in my school, what we have access to a counselor. We have this counseling, not counseling sessions, but we have this sessions called pulse sessions, where the counselor takes session. They just pick up one topic and they explain that topic. They broaden our horizon. So, like once my teacher, my counselor, so there's a whole class. and there's one counselor, and the counselor, explains that particular topic. They tell you that, okay, if how can we do this, or how can we do that, how can we develop this. So one of my counselor, she took up gratefulness once, and these small things, these are the life skills, these are the things that students should learn, right? And there are different counselors for marks, for schools, for colleges, but there are also counselors for your emotional balance and your well-being. So I think there should be counselors in schools also, in CBSE schools. And if there aren't, then they should just go to their parents. Parents are no less than counselors, and they understand the child better, so they can advise the child better concerning their um, distractions. But there are problems, limitations in that also. Why? Because the parents, not always, they don't always um, understand things from a child's perspective, right? And that's why you have counselors, because they understand the thing by the child's perspective. They've been there in the school, so they understand a few things.
All right, that's just wonderful. So, what are three habits which you follow on daily basis which keeps you motivated, or what would be those three success patterns of your life which you want to share with kids?
I want to share success patterns. Success, I'm talking about success firstly in not in creating your own business or
Mhm.
creating the next Microsoft. No, I'm talking about success in life. What three good practices you should take, or you should adopt um, to be a good person and to do something in your life, to do something of your own in life, to write a book or to do this or to do anything. So the first should be, you should know what's happening around you, know what's happening in the surroundings, even if it's something negative, even if it's the increasing crime rate. Because what if that increasing crime rate can help you write a book, or that particular event which happened can help you make a movie. There's this movie coming out called Chapak, so that's also based on someone's life. It's based on an event which happened in someone's life and how they tackled it. So you should know uh, the current affairs and what's happening around you, the first good practice. Then the second is, you should do the chores in your house, which helps you take onus of your own things, and which helps you do work. And then you should also be you should have active participation in certain things, like in events or in arguments, in debates, right? Yeah, I think these three practices should be followed by children if they want to make it big in anything they want to do. If they want to be serious, if they want to, focus on something, they need to adopt these three practices. First, they need to participate. Second, they need to know the current affairs. And third, they need to do basic and small things like house chores. And yeah.
All right. Okay. What is the best advice you have ever got which has helped you grow from your low selves to high self?
The best advice that I have got is uh, there are a lot of advices which I've got.
Share first three then.
Okay,
Top three which helped you.
the top three that have helped me is key study now, and later in life enjoy. Study now, study in your school years, college years, and then later just enjoy your life. Go to vacations, holidays, trips, and just spend money and be happy. Right. So work hard now and enjoy later in life. So that's the first advice and the top advice which I've got, which has always helped me. And the second is that um, never let the burning fire in you, blow. Always have this fire in your heart. that will help you go, never give up, basically. So I think these are the two advices which are the best and which should be followed by kids. And both of them have been given by my father.
That's just wonderful. So we see that your father is the main contributor in your growth. All right. Okay. What do you think you had been given different when you were in grade one or you were even younger? So you started off with your venture when you were 11 years young. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. So, how was your life before? What do you see that you were given different or you were doing differently than other kids or other parents are treating or giving to their kids? What do you
See,
see was different in your life?
I always thought and believed that I'm different. I'm different. I'm the one. I always believed that to myself, and the evidences of that difference was that I never used to write a whole sentence. I just used
Mhm.
to write short words, just used to note things down. Never used to write the whole paragraph, or never used to do the things which was conventional. I used to take the either the easier way or the better way, which I thought for myself. But it turns out that's not a sign of difference. But um, th- I have never been given anything that is different. No, I've always been the same. And but children and school kids should believe that they are different. How I believe that I am different, they should believe that they are different, right? Because the definition of different varies according person to person. People think that different is doing the unconventional. People think difference is not being normal. So the definition varies, right? So, for example, my definition of difference is, how I do things and how I am following the conventional because I don't follow the conventional. So I believe that I'm different. And then believing is one thing. The second is that you know kids should, as I said, participate and be active in everything they do. Put their heart and soul in it.
That is just wonderfully said. Wonderfully said. Antariksha, is there anything? So we have reached towards the end of the interview. Is there anything else you want to add which you feel can help other kids? You have already shared good points like participation, learning, believing in yourself, and think you are different, and that is good. Give your 100% and heart and soul in whatever work you are doing. The best of all of the advice is that work hard today and enjoy your life later on. Don't think that anything is difficult. This is all about growth mindset. This is all about a successful mindset. Is there anything else you want to share with the kids, with the parents, if they
Yes,
can be more supportive, or you
yes.
want to say something?
This advice and this thing which I'm saying, right? It's not just a mere statement. It won't be a mere statement, but it will be applicable to everyone. And it's that you know whenever you're stuck in your life or whenever you're not understanding anything, right, you should just ask yourself that what's the definition of stuck, what's the definition of failure, what's the definition of what I'm doing, right? You have to first define it. And if you can define it, right, because the definition always varies from person to person. The definition of failure in the Oxford book is something, and the definition of failure in my book is something different. So you should define define it, of course. Like, if I'm stuck in something or if I'm failing, I should define what's failure, because failure for me is something gold. It's gold. Failure for me is gold. It's an opportunity to learn from, and it's an opportunity to analyze myself, reflect on where I've gone wrong, and do it again, execute it again. And that's what executing is about. That's what dreaming is about, and executing my goals are about.
This is just marvelous. So you are saying that failures are actually good. It's good that you fail because that gives you the opportunity to learn. So you go back, you reflect, you learn again, you fail again, and it's okay. You again go back and you learn again. And when you are right now, then after so many times, so many rounds of learning, you are standing over here. The kind of concepts, clarity you have got, nobody else would have got. And it's okay if others have also got, but then at least your practice is done, and that this is really positive, this is really amazing, and kids must learn two primary things which we have learned from you. One, that different, if I'm different, that is a great thing for me. And second, that learning is very important and failure are just part of life. They are opportunities for us to learn and grow. It was amazing. Anything else you want to add on towards the end which would serve as an advice for the
Yes.
listeners?
Yes. An advice that never think that if he can do it, right, if I can do it, right, you can't do it. And never think that if he can do it, right, so you can also do the same thing. Why? Because every person has his own thoughts, his own mindset, and I'm no one to change the person's mindset. I'm just sharing my own experience, and I'm just telling you how you can do things in your life. And I'm talking about general things. If you want to be the next Chetan Bhagat, or if you want to be the next journalist, or if you want to be the next um, Bill Gates, no one's stopping you. Do what you want to do. If I'm an entrepreneur and if I'm doing this, it doesn't mean that you also have to do this. It just means that you can do things in the way I have done it, and you can take something from my experience, so that you can focus and you can do things well in your life. Because actually, it's such a big privilege that the children who will be watching this, it would be a privilege for them. Why? Because they can learn from the mistakes I have committed, because no one's perfect and everyone commits mistakes. So they can learn from my mistakes and be even better than me, right? Because if I don't know the mistakes I've committed, they would know those mistakes, because they're watching me, they're watching my profile, they're watching how I am, right? So they'll point out the mistakes, spot the mistakes, and then they'll improve those things, right? So I think it's very, very, they're very privileged to watch this if they will.
Very wonderful thoughts that you are admitting that you're making mistakes and even feeling privileged for yourself that other kids and people are going to learn from your mistakes and your failures. This is just amazing. Antariksh, after watching this video, if parents are watching this, kids are watching this, kids would really want to be like you, not maybe following the success patterns, but not becoming who you have become, because everybody, I believe, has got different vision, different purpose. And once they move on to their purpose, nobody can stop them following the success patterns of successful people like you. The second bit is that all the parents, those who are watching this, all the grandparents, those who are watching this, they are actually somewhere envisioning or dreaming that my kid is also successful at such a niche age and is also inspiring other people. So you're not just successful in your domain, you're also inspiring other kids to do something, to think beyond academics. So parents and grandparents are absolutely thinking that they want their grandkids and kids to be like you. What do you see that you can give a message and advice to parents which would help them somewhere to at least contribute from their part and see that at least giving them the avenues to open their kids, and that would help maybe other kids also to be where you are or to be so successful?
The first is to spend time with your children, right? Guide them, guide them. And if they're doing something wrong, you know slap them if you can, but just tell them that you are doing something wrong, you've done something wrong. And then after you've told them that, oh, you've done something wrong, you should even try to give a solution, or you should bring them out to the right path, right? And if any parent is already doing that, if the parent is already doing that, well then hats off to them. But if they aren't, then they can start doing this. It's never late to do something good, or to, yeah, to do something good.
How much do you think parents, what they do, what they say, what their mindset has got impact on their kids' future?
um I can't comment about other kids and other parents, but I think, looking at myself, I think, yeah, I'm grateful to have such parents, and my parents have done a lot for me. Although at sometimes when they just scold me or they say anything to me, I feel that why am I at fault? Why am I at fault? Right? I feel that. But then I also feel, after reflecting on myself, I feel that, oh yeah, I was wrong. And when the same thing, like when my sister is being scolded or something is happening to her also, you know, at that time I analyze. Because if you look at the point of view from someone else, you understand that thing. But if you look at the point of view of yourself, the person who's being scolded, you will always be kind of like anti the person who's scolding you. So, um, I think you should look from the perspective of a third person. Parents should look at the perspective from a third person. Even kids should look from the perspective of a third person, because that third person is the one who really understands everything and who analyzes everything. So that's my message to the parents.
I believe this is the best part. If we understand other person's perspective, and primarily, you mentioned that when you are scolded by your parents or something goes wrong, the first thing you do is you just stop, you take your time, you reflect on what happened, and you also try to put yourself in your parents' shoe that if they have scolded you, what went wrong, what they were thinking good that they scolded me for. This is really amazing. Thank you so much, Antariksha. You have achieved already a lot. God bless you. There are lots of abundance and lots of blessings from our side that you keep moving up and keep rising in the on the path of the success and keep inspiring other kids. This had been lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for being so transparent. Thank you so much for sharing your failures. Thank you so much for sharing your learnings. And indeed, Antariksha, you are a different kid, but you are furthermore different because you are inspiring the other kids. Thank you so much for your time,
Thank you,
and
ma'am.
God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right. So we are from LivesBerg Enterprise. This is the first time we have interviewed an eighth grade kid. And of course, he's worth interviewing. I am full of excitement to take his interview, to learn about him, to know about him, to listen to him. Of course, at many areas, he is conceptually clear. He has got the complete clarity of what he's doing. He has got complete clarity of the actions he's taking on daily basis. And I'm 100% sure that there are thousands of things which we can learn from this interview. I insist, if you are a parent, do listen to him. He has got advices for parents. Do listen what his parents and his mindset had been, which has made him so different. If you are kids, if you are youth, if you are a job seeker or already a professional, please do listen to this interview, do watch this interview to see that if a eighth grade kid can have this kind of mindset, which makes a huge difference, which makes him successful. And furthermore, the definition of success is different for him. It is not money, it is not being at some position, but it is always reflecting on my percent of it, putting your heart and soul today so that you can enjoy tomorrow and focus on what you are doing. The best of all was if you are distracted or that you're distracted with good things. Thank you so much, Antariksha, and we are blessed to have you on LivesBerg Enterprise platform. I'm sure this interview is going to be a blast and will be an inspiring interview for thousands and thousands of people. Thank you so much. So, LivesBerg saying goodbye. Stay tuned with us. We are coming up with interviews of principals, directors, CEOs, and the special episode interviews of entrepreneur below 18 so that we can inspire our kids, our youth to be successful and follow their success patterns so that they also envision their vision for the future and they also achieve and become a successful person tomorrow. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. It's LivesBerg Enterprise. Thank you.